So, the history of May Day has been one of struggle and oppression. It has been the struggle of the working class in demanding the rights that we deserve. Since the beginning of the 19th century, as industrialization grew and as the economy concentrated in the hands of the few, the working class saw itself under the harshest conditions. As the capitalist system flourished, workers in the United States and around the world found themselves being oppressed by the system. Workers worked a 12 to 14-hour workday and worked a 6 to 7-day work week. It was during this period that labor organizations started to demand a shorter workday. It wasn't until 1835 that after a 3-week general strike in Philadelphia that those workers won a 10-hour workday in both public and private jobs. But the recession of 1837 to 1841 reversed these gains. As the U.S. emerged out of the Civil War, the National Labor Union was created, thus reigniting the struggle for an 8-hour workday. By 1860, the average workday was reduced to 11 hours. By 1886, 6 states had passed an 8-hour legislation, and in the same year, Congress passed an 8-hour day law for all federal workers. Yet, as any ongoing struggle, the movement faced a setback as the recession of 1873 to 1879 rolled back these gains. In the 1880s, labor organizations influenced by Marxists took on a more revolutionary approach to winning an 8-hour workday. Yet it wasn't until 1884 that May 1st was officially tied to the 8-hour day movement at the convention of the Federation of Organized Trades and Labor Unions of the United States and Canada, later known as the American Federation of Labor. Thus it was the 8-hour workday movement that gave birth to May Day. On May 1st, 1886, there were mass protests and demonstrations across the country. An estimated 500,000 workers took action from Chicago to New York. In the Chicago demonstrations, the meatpacking workers were able to win an 8-hour workday after a strike, and in Louisville, 6,000 black and white workers marched into city parks that were closed off to blacks. The black press reported that the labor movement had broken down the walls of prejudice. The worker struggle, as the Louisville March showed us, has the ability to unite all workers regardless of race. If the working class before us was able to unite regardless of the color of their skin, then we too today can put aside any differences and fight in solidarity against this capitalist slavery. We too can march against a capitalist state, these oppressors that try to keep us divided, so they can keep enjoying from our labor and rake in the profits that belong to us, the working class. Because let's not forget that the working class has been the one who has produced the wealth that the bourgeoisie selfishly enjoys. Yet, regardless of all the profits made by the working class, we are still the victims of oppression. The working class, since the beginning of industrialization, has been subjected to discrimination and police brutality. It is important for the working class to keep celebrating May Day, in order to remember the past struggles that the working class has undergone and to keep demanding better working conditions. The struggles has not been one without violence. In Chicago, 2 days after May 1st in 1886, the Haymarket Incident occurred. By May 3rd, the workers on strike grew from 40,000 to 65,000. The representatives of the industry became alarmed and decided that action had to be taken. As scabs, persons who take the jobs of striking workers tried to leave the McCormick Reaper Works plant. Those on strikes pushed them back into the plant. The police, puppets of the capitalists, opened fire, wounding workers and killing 4. A mass rally was called at Haymarket Square the following day in response to the attacks to denounce the police murders. 3,000 people attended. As the rally ended, the police ordered the protesters to disperse. But as the leaders of the rally argued with police, a bomb was thrown by the crowd into the group of policemen. 6 cops died and 66 were wounded. The police then turned their guns on the workers, wounding 200, more than double the number of police injured and killing several. After this, the major declared martial law, targeting workers and arresting hundreds. In total, 8 leaders were put on trial. All were convicted. 4 were hanged on November 11, 1887. 1 committed suicide the day before the hanging. 2 received life sentences and 1 got 15 years. All 8 workers addressed the trial at its conclusion. Their speeches accused the capitalist system and addressed the rights of the working class to defend itself from capitalist slavery. 4 of the men convicted were not even present at the rally. Yet it does not matter during the judicial proceedings. The men were not convicted due to the incident, but rather for the ability to organize the labor movement. The state is afraid of what we can achieve if we all unite as workers. This is why they resort to police violence and to the racist judicial system. After the Haymarket Incident, the labor movement was under attack. 1/3 of the workers lost their 8-hour workday that they had rightfully won. Yet it was during this time the workers around the world stood in solidarity with the workers of the United States. Rallies and meetings were held in France, Holland, Russia, Germany, Italy, England, and Spain. The Haymarket Incident put the U.S. working class and the 8-hour movement at center stage of the worldwide workers' movement. So when the American Federation of Labor Convention in 1888 announced that May 1st in 1890 would be a day when the labor movement would enforce an 8-hour workday with demonstrations and strikes, the world was listening. May Day was officially adopted as International Workers' Day at a meeting of the Marxist International Socialist Congress held in Paris in July 1889. The focus of the campaign was to win an 8-hour workday for all workers. May 1st, 1890 saw the biggest strike on any single day in the history of the United States up to that time. From Europe to Peru to Chile to Havana, Cuba, demonstrations were held. The Cuban workers not only demanded an 8-hour workday, but also demanded equal rights for blacks and whites and working class unity. Year after year, demonstrations were held on May Day, celebrating International Workers' Day. But it wasn't until June 25, 1938, that the U.S. Congress finally passed federal legislation making the 8-hour day the law of the land. The workers' struggle has been a struggle against a capitalist system. It is a day where workers can unite and raise demands in solidarity against racism, against imperialist wars, and against oppression. Because unlike the bourgeoisie, which have had everything handed on a golden platter, the working class has had to fight for better working conditions and rights. May Day is a reminder that we, the workers of the United States and of the world, have the right to make our demands heard. And it is a holiday where we can show the capitalist system that we won't go away until all our rights are won. We will keep fighting until this capitalist slavery ends. So come join us this May Day as we stand in solidarity on International Workers' Day. Injury to one is an injury to all.